Hey, what's up guys, it's James Diamond here and welcome back to the next episode here on Sonic Academy of how to make a Psytrance track. In the last episode we were looking at the percussion, how to EQ and compress and to stereo width some of your percussion, and as I went through, keeping it very simple to leave room for all the other elements. In this episode we're going to be looking at the sound effects, and it's one of my favourite parts of working on a track, is really creating some cool atmospheric effects. So I'm just going to create maybe a 8-bar loop here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new channel and a new pattern even, and I'm going to add a crash. And I've got my sound effects folder set up here. Sorry, that might have been a bit loud. And we're going to add our crash symbol. Let's chuck it in, let's hear how it sounds. Pretty cool, nothing special though at the moment, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a low cut onto it, and then I'm just going to bring out some of the high end because that's going to clash with our percussion, the high end of our percussion. And then I'm going to add some reverb on. Now I want to put lots and lots of reverb on. First thing I'm going to do is add a low cut because we don't really want any low end on low reverb coming through, as that's going to muddy up the mix. And then I'm just going to add a load of reverb. So let's increase the room size, let's make it warm in the color, increase the reverb amount, and let's just have a listen to that now. So that's pretty cool, it lasts for quite a long time, and let's get it into the mix and see how that sounds. Pretty cool. I think even more low ends could probably come out of it. That's sounding pretty nice, liking that so far. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to the other end of our loop. I'm going to make unique. I'm just going to rename that, and that's going to be RC, which stands for reverse crash. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to use the exact same crash. I'm going to clone it. I'm going to add my MIDI in, and then I'm going to reverse it. So let's have a listen to what that sounds like. So that's pretty cool. Nice reverse crash. Now let's just put that into the mix and see how it sounds. Pretty cool. I like them to stop, my reverse crashes to stop just before the last beat, just before it returns back to the start. So let's have a listen to that again. So that's pretty cool. You could hear that the reverse crash stopped just on the very last beat, allowing room for the next crash to come in on the beat itself. So I've got a load of different sound effects going on here, so let's have a listen and let's chuck them in. So that's a pretty cool downlifter. I'm just going to add, or at least move these down. Let's just add this in. We're going to link it to a channel, and we're going to rename that Sweeps, or Sweepo. No, it's going to be Sweeps. And let's bring the volume down on that, and then I'm going to add some EQ. I really want to cut away all of the low end, and I'm going to cut away some of the high end because it's kind of a white noise type sound. That white noise is then going to interfere with the high end of the percussion and things like that, so we're going to cut it off so to make sure it doesn't. So let's have a listen. Pretty cool. Let's just bring even more the high end off. So that sounds quite nice. It's a little bit dry, so let's go ahead and add some reverb onto it. Again, put a low cut. I'm going to keep the decay around 1.5 seconds, but I'm going to bring the reverb amount up. And as you can hear, that just adds that little tail onto it. I don't want it to be straight like that, so I'm going to go onto the gross beat again, and I'm going to add some sidechain compression. And I think it should probably be around the -4. Doesn't sound very smooth, so maybe let's try this. It's a little bit better, just smoothing out of those curves. So let's have a listen, see how that sounds like in the mix. In fact, it could probably duck just that a little bit more. Let's go even further. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I think it sounds best like that indeed. Cool, so let's go ahead and add some extra little hits and things like that. So the first one I'm going to add in is this big Reverb Hits 2, and this is from the Sonic Academy sound pack, the sample pack. So it's UFX number 2, which is here, UFX number 2 by Sonic Academy, big reverb hits, and I've just gone in here and had a look and listened to them and taken a couple of them out. So this is the first one. So that's pretty cool. It's quite long, a lot of reverb is already on the sound itself, but I think maybe let's just take the very first hit, because that was pretty cool. Let's link that to a channel and let's call this Verb Effects. So we're going to create our own reverb, because this one, it's not actually landing on the beat. So we're going to just add a bit of EQ, bring out the low end, and then let's go ahead and, in fact, let's use the same reverb that we used on the crash. So I'm just going to copy and paste that across. Sounds pretty cool. Whoops, there we go. We're just going to take the same sidechain. So what's happening there is that we've added our reverb and then we're sidechaining the reverb after. So rather than it just being a straight sound, it's got some groove to it. So that will help it kind of sit with the other sounds in the mix and allow the kick to come through. So let's have a listen to that. Yep, that sounds pretty good, liking the sound of that. So let's try some of these other sounds. Pretty crazy. What I'm trying to look for here really in these sounds is just something a bit different, you know, something that you don't generally hear on other records. I mean, especially with Psytrance, it's all about kind of finding those unique sounds and putting them together. So actually on this one, it's already got some nice reverb. It's not sidechained, so I can leave the whole sound in itself. So I'm just going to add some more EQ, take the low end off. Let's have a listen to how it sounds. That's a really cool sound. And let's take the gross beat. And there you can hear it sidechaining the tail of the reverb that's already on the sound itself. Let's have a listen how it sounds in a mix. So that's pretty cool, building up these sounds as you can see and creating something, just creating this kind of 8-bar atmospheric loop. So let's have a look at what the next one sounds like, number 31. I love sounds like these really kind of low, deep, squelchy type sounds. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add this to the same Verb Effects number 2. Because you can do this in FL Studio, you can link multiple sounds to an individual channel. If you're on Cubase or Logic or Ableton, you're going to have to set up a bus and then link all your individual channels to that bus with the sound effects on. So let's have a listen to this one. That's pretty cool. Let's have a listen to how it all sounds in the mix. Sounded pretty good, but I don't like the start of that bit there, so I'm just going to pull that back. Yeah, I think that sounds a bit better. That squelchy thing wasn't really working too well. I'm not sure if this one is particularly in key, so I'm just going to double click on it, go to the pitch, and I'm going to pull it down by a semitone. Nope, it was right the first time, and hopefully this one is okay as well. So that's sounding pretty nice, liking that so far. And let's maybe add just one more, this one here, number 18, which is a nice kind of reverse sound. I'm not sure what the end is there, but we're just going to take that little section out. And I think, so now I've got the choice that I can either keep it dry the way it is now, or I can add it, so if it wanted to keep it dry, I'd add it to this channel, which has just got the EQ and the sidechain on, or I can add it to this channel, which has got all of the reverb on as well. So let's put it onto the reverb one at first. So I think that might work a bit better actually, but let's just try it with the dry. Not sure. We're going to have to try it in the mix to see how it sounds. Sounded a little abrupt, it's a little bit loud, so I'm just going to pull it down on the pre-fade of the volume, and I think I will actually change it back to the reverb channel. So that's sounding nice. There's still that extra little kind of uplift at the very end. I'm just going to pull that back, just so it was a little bit loud and kind of obstructing the rest of the sounds there. So that's a little bit better, sounding pretty cool. So obviously what I'm looking for here was just finding these very nice atmospheric sound effects. I'm going to be using these throughout the mix. They're kind of going to be there in the background, and they're really just going to help the track so it doesn't sound too dry. So it's, you know, at the moment obviously in the kick and the bass and the percussion there was no reverb or anything like that. It was all very, very dry. These sound effects are really going to help bring atmosphere and not make the mix as dry, and really kind of beef it up and make it sound really, really good on a big system and in the studio. So there we go. So that's all I'm going to do for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at some even more sound effects, which are going to be slightly different. But at the moment, we've got a very cool 8-bar loop, which is the kind of foundation for our track. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.